Okay, hi guys. Welcome to another class on current affairs and general knowledge. So, John, you are going to present the latest happenings of the last week today, right?
Yes, sir.
So, can you please do that, and then we'll discuss last week's. We'll continue discussing last week's questions, and then move on to the new worksheet. Okay?
Should I start, sir?
Yeah. Please do. Sure.
It's visible, right?
Yeah.
So, it's the presentation is about the current affairs of this week, 29th. It's pretty short, and it's a few things that I found interesting that happened this week. So, the first one, the farmers protest outside Delhi. The key highlights are since 26 November, farmers from Punjab and Haryana have obstructed some roads leading to Delhi, and they are protesting against the recently passed farm bills. The farm bills allow the farmers to sell produce directly to corporates, and this is better as it increases the efficiency and um, like they can make more profit. That's what the center says, but the farmers fear is an excuse to pull off the MSP safety net from under the feet. Um, Contentions of
Rishabh,
both
wait,
parties.
John, 1 second.
Yes.
I have a question for you guys and also for our viewers on YouTube. You can also write the answers in the comment. So, why do you think only farmers from Punjab and Haryana are protesting? Why not farmers from other states? Anyone can chip in. It's like an open question.
Sir, because in other states the mandis have already been removed. Like there are no mandis in Bihar, so the farmers from Bihar have moved to Punjab, and now they're trying to remove mandis from Punjab also. So that's why they're protesting.
Not just mandis, like the basic issue that the farmers have is with respect to the minimum support price. So right now, no matter what the market conditions are, the farmer will get a certain price for their product under the APMC mandi system. And this minimum support price, this is called the MSP or the minimum support price. This feature or this benefit was only available to farmers of Punjab and Haryana. Farmers of only these two states get the MSP. Otherwise, no other state there is where farmers get an assurance of a minimum support price. Okay, like farmers can go, like even in other states, farmers can go and sell in mandis, but they don't get the MSP, which is why only Punjabi and Haryanvi farmers are protesting
Yes,
specifically.
and I think they are the most percentage-wise. They are the most people who use the state procurement and MSP.
Yeah, because they produce the largest amount of
Yes,
food
sir.
grains. After
Yes, sir.
the green revolution was centered in Punjab, Haryana, and Western Uttar Pradesh in the 1970s.
Yes, sir.
It was like MS Swaminathan. He was the father of the green revolution, and in that was before the green revolution, India had to import grains from other countries like the United States. So something which happened during Lal Bahadur Shastri's prime minister reign, there was a drought. Like India used to face droughts and famines every single year. Okay, because of irregular irrigation, irregular monsoon, because of pests, and because of also the grazing and herding animals which destroy the fields. So because of all these reasons, India used to face droughts and famines every single year, and we had to import our grains and our food from other countries, other Western countries. And what these countries like the US used to do, they used to give us the worst kind of food. Okay, the food that they would not even give to their cattle, that food they used to export to India at very high prices, and then India had to buy them. Like India was taking loans from them only because we didn't have money, but we were taking loans from them to buy food from them only. So during Indira Gandhi's government, MS Swaminathan came up with some practices which increased like many-fold the production capacity of farmers in Punjab and Haryana. It was done, and Western Uttar Pradesh, and using fertilizers and very intensive farming techniques, India finally became self-sufficient in food production, and ever since then, we have been able to export food products where we were dependent on importing earlier. So this is why the green revolution was centered there. So whatever the benefits of the green revolution have been for the farming economy, agricultural sector of our economy, that was restricted only to farmers in those small pockets, right? Which is why when that system is changing, because they have been the largest beneficiaries of such a system, they have the biggest problems. And farmers from other states, because they have always been in the same situation as they are now, so they don't care. They don't care. They say ki, okay, if you bring a new system, it might be good for me. But these farmers, because they have taken benefit of the old system, they don't want the new system to come without any assurances that they would not be worse off than they are right now.
Sir, but the government is not removing the MSPs now.
No, the government is not removing the MSP. Like, there's nothing like the MSP. So the government is saying like the main issue is there will be there will still be mandis available where the farmers can go and sell their product at the MSP. But the problem is that when you sell your product at the mandis, at the Agricultural Product Produce Markets Committee mandis, the APMC mandis, then you have to pay tax on that sale to the government. Whereas, say if Reliance or Amazon or Walmart comes and to the farmers and asks them directly, you will sell your potato for 3 rupees in the mandi. Why don't you sell it to me at 4 rupees, and you will also save on the tax? So you don't have to pay tax to the government for something you sell to a private company. Do you understand, Varishtha?
Yes, sir.
So now, so if you are a farmer, just think about it. You are not stupid. You are not going to just pay tax to the government for something that you can sell at the same price to a business person or a corporate house without paying that tax. So you would not want to do that. So mandis will start to see a fall in the trade that happens there. That
Yes,
you
sir.
will start to see. And then what will happen? Okay, just follow this idea through. So then what will happen? As slowly farmers begin to pull their grain out of trading in the mandis will start to collapse. And as mandis start to collapse, and soon there will only be corporate houses and businesses which the farmers will be able to deal with. So what they will do when there is no more competition from the mandis and all, like any business person, if you were a business person, you would also do that, because the middleman is not there anymore. You will just reduce the buying price that you offer to the farmers. You will keep reducing it until you have a monopoly. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Right? They have an issue. This is what they want reassurances for. Okay, John.
Yes, sir. The contentions of both parties, the government says that the official reign or it can greatly reduce corruption which is prevalent at the APMCs by defeating the monopoly cartel at the APMC mandis, and so the farmers can sell produce to anyone, and bypassing the Essential Commodities Act and the bill also legalizes hoarding, so this can be used for stockpiling, and many constraints have been lifted. And farmers can make contracts and transfer risk to businessmen freely. Once they make the contract, they cannot be rescinded, so the farmers have less risk to consider. But the farmers can contend that government may get rid of the MSP regime, much depended by farmers, and the corporate houses have no proper regulation in the bills, which can lead to exploitation of the farmers. And the center's high-handed attitude of rushing the bills through the parliament and not taking note of the critique against the bills have made the farmers susceptible to the bills. And coming to the next issue, deterioration of the Great Barrier Reef. This has been going on for a long time, but now it's in the news because IUCN has has said that this has become an endangered World Heritage Site and can be listed as one. So, Great Barrier Reef, some facts, is the world's most extensive and spectacular coral reef ecosystem composed of over 2,900 individual reefs and 900 islands. The reef is located in the Coral Sea off the coast of Queensland, Australia. It can be seen from outer space and is the world's biggest single structure made by living organisms. This reef structure is composed of and built by billions of tiny organisms known as coral polyps. They are made of genetically identical organisms called polyps, which are tiny soft-boiled organisms. At their base is a hard, protective limestone skeleton called a caracal, which forms the structure of coral reefs. These polyps have microscopic algae called zooxanthellae living within the tissues. The corals and algae have a mutualistic symbiotic relationship. This was selected as a World Heritage Site in 1981. The concerns regarding this now are the IUCN or International Union for Conservation of Nature has highlighted that Australia's Great Barrier Reef is in a critical state and is deteriorating as climate change warms up the waters. The corals along about 2,300 kilometer reef has been killed by rising sea temperatures linked to climatic change. When corals face stress by change in conditions such as temperature, light, or nutrients, they expel symbiotic algae, zooxanthellae, living in their tissues, causing them to turn completely white. This phenomenon is called coral bleaching. Corals can recover stress-caused bleaching if it is not severe. And coral bleaching has occurred in the Caribbean, Indian, and Pacific Ocean. In 2019, Australia downgraded its long-term outlook to very poor for the first time and said there are high chances that it will be considered for the list of World Heritage in danger. So that's about the Great Barrier Reef. And the next one is about the Uttar Pradesh Ordinance on Unlawful Conversions. The Uttar Pradesh government has recently passed an ordinance to deal with unlawful religious conversions, which are in opposition of various judgments of the Supreme Court. It makes religious conversion for marriage a non-bailable offense, and the onus will be on the defendant to prove that conversion was not for marriage. The notice paid to the district magistrate for religious conversion is 2 months. In case of conversion done by a woman for the sole purpose of marriage would be declared null and void. And violation of the provisions would invite jail term of not less than 1 year, extendable to 5 years with a fine of ₹15,000. Uttar Pradesh government has passed an ordinance, and it says that conversion for only the sake of marriage is said as a criminal act. And two people a man was accused of forcibly converting and marrying a Hindu girl, but the Allahabad High Court, when deciding that case, held that the right to choose a partner irrespective of religion is intrinsic in right to life and personal liberty, and quashed the FIR. It also observed that right to privacy upheld in the case Puttaswamy case also incorporated the right to make choices affecting an individual's private life, and the state had no right to interfere with that. So a person can make his own choices that affects his life. The court said that this is also incorporated in the right to privacy. So, and this is some miscellaneous information. The government of India has announced the stimulus package of ₹900 crore for the mission COVID Suraksha and Indian COVID-19 vaccine development mission, which will help the development process of vaccine candidates. And two, India has strongly rejected criticism of its Kashmir policy by the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, OIC. In the 47th session of the OIC Council of Ministers, OIC Council of Foreign Ministers held at Miami, Niger, had made a reference to India or its policies on Jammu and Kashmir. The OIC has generally.
Interesting thing. A very interesting fact
Yes,
is
sir.
that where the building where this meeting was held in Niger, it was built by India last year for the 150th birth centenary of Mahatma Gandhi. So India has built a building in Niger where the Organization of Islamic Cooperation is now in session and says that it has problems with India's Jammu and Kashmir foreign policy. So it's just like funny. That's what it is. Yeah, continue.
The OIC has generally sided with Pakistan in most of issues with Pakistan and India. And India has strongly said that India, which has 10% of the world Muslim population, should be represented at the OIC. India is not a member, but it was invited in 2019 as a guest of honor. So that's it. And in UK, United Kingdom on Thursday became the first Western nation to approve emergency use authorization for a vaccine which was made by Pfizer and in cooperation with BioNTech against COVID, which has killed over 14.92 lakh people around the globe. India has also bought millions of doses. I think it's approximately 1.6 billion. I think of which 500 million is Oxford, AstraZeneca, and others include Novavax and Sputnik 5, which is a Russian vaccine. And experts calculate that this has covered up to 60% of the population of India. So that's it.
Great. Wonderful. Okay, guys. Just give me 1 second and I'll send the worksheet in the group. First, we'll finish with there are only 3 passages in today's worksheet. So we'll quickly get over with that. And then we'll go back to last week's worksheet. Okay. I've sent it on the Telegram channel. Check, you guys. Have you got the worksheet in the Telegram channel? Someone just tell me, please.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great, wonderful. So let's begin. It's 11:52, and we'll begin discussing. It's almost 11:53. Never mind. We'll begin discussing the first passage at noon. Okay, that is 12 o'clock. And for our viewers on YouTube, I will be sharing the passage. I'll be sharing my screen so you can read the passage there. And if you want to get involved in these discussions and solving the passages and asking your doubts in class, then please check out our institute, and we have very wonderful offers and wonderful things planned for you guys. So if you would like to join us, you're most welcome. Okay, guys. Uh, let's begin. What will replace one in the passage? Let's go back to one. Pakistan may remain on the number one list of the Financial Action Task Force. What is the answer to question number one? Come on, guys.
B, grey.
Yes,
Red.
sir.
Red.
Yes, sir.
Sir, grey.
Right, right. Like whoever said gray is correct. And this again for you guys, I will remind you those who are not present in last evening's class and also for our new viewers on YouTube, guys, keep a tally of the options, the correct answers, and your attempted options, and keep a tally of the number of questions you got correct and the number of options you got incorrect and the number of questions that you skipped, and accordingly mark yourselves on the based on the pattern of CLAT, so that you can after every class you will be able to analyze and see if you are making progress, if you are getting better with every single class, and if you are not, then you can always reach out to me and we can work on that. Okay, so gray is the correct answer. How many lists are there in the FATF watch list? Does anyone know?
So is it two?
Two. Okay. Any more guesses? Like, take a guess. Take a guess. We're basically having a discussion. Just take a guess.
2, sir. 2, grey and black.
Right. Correct. And what is the difference between gray and black lists?
Grey list is more like a warning. Warning to the countries who are like they assume are supporting terrorism, and blacklist are the countries that are supporting terrorism and money laundering, stuff like that.
Correct. So, gray list, just to reiterate, gray list is for countries which are at a very high or a much higher risk of being used for money laundering or global terror financing, or like being involved in money laundering and global terror financing, while blacklist countries are those countries which are involved in these things. But that is also debatable because we'll come to that in a moment. So which of the following will replace two in the passage above? Let's go back to two. One
Sir,
second.
option A.
In February, FATF gave Pakistan a 4-month grace period to complete its action plan. So, how many points did Pakistan's action plan against money laundering and terror financing have? Yeah, what did you say, Varishta? Option?
Option A, 27 point.
Correct. 27 points. And how many points did it fail? How many points did it not?
6 points, I guess.
Yes. Very good. You were keeping abreast of the news. That's good. Very good. So Pakistan reached 21 out of 27 point action plan, but because it missed on 6, so it remained in the gray list. Okay, and what did it do? It, like, more than 80 terror financing groups were blacklisted by Pakistan. Okay, it's given here. More than 88 banned terror groups and leaders, including Jamaatul Dawa, Jaish-e-Mohammed, Dawood Ibrahim, they were black. They were placed under financial sanctions by the Pakistani government. Okay, where is the headquarter of the Financial Action Task Force?
So Paris.
Paris, correct. And which intergovernmental body established the Financial Action Task Force?
G7.
G7.
G7. Very good. And what are the countries in the G7? Guess. You don't have to know every single one of them. Just take a guess. Like, which countries do you expect to be there? The first guess is very
US.
obvious. US, very good. Second guess?
Russia,
Russia, France,
France, India,
Russia is not there.
UK,
UK is there. Yeah, UK is there.
India, yeah,
France,
US,
UK,
Russia, France,
US.
UK, and
India is not there. So US. So off. So we have now till now covered three: US, UK, and France. Four. Guess. I'll tell you. I'll give you a hint. Of the four remaining countries, two are European, one is North American, and one is Asian. And it is not India or China or
Japan.
yes, yes, it is Japan. And
Okay.
in the European countries, the two remaining European countries, both of them were part of the Axis powers in the Second World War.
Germany,
Germany.
Germany, and the other one,
Italy, because France was
Italy.
already
Yes.
there.
Very good. Yes, Mussolini and Hitler, the Axis powers in the Second World War, Germany and Italy, and the North American country, because America we've already covered, so that leaves only two countries. One is Mexico, but Mexico won't obviously be in the G7. It's a middle income country. It's not a high income country. So Canada is the remaining one. So the seven countries which are member of the G7 are US, UK, Germany, Italy, Canada, France, and Japan. Okay, two in North America, one in Asia, four in Europe. Okay. Now coming to the last question: which of the following countries are on the blacklist of the Financial Action Task Force?
Sir, Iran.
Iran is there,
North
North
correct?
Korea.
North Korea.
North Korea. Yes, yes. Only these two countries are there. Rest, whichever country they feel like. So basically, this is not a very objective list. This is basically the list of the most hated countries by the United States. And so Iran and North Korea are the only countries which are there on the blacklist. Otherwise, other countries which are thought to be of high risk. This was formed in 1999, the Financial Action Task Force. Now it has around 30 something members. I'm not sure, 31, I guess. You'll have to check that once, but that's not important how many members it has now. What is important is it was formed by the G7 to prevent money laundering and terror financing internationally, so that government can cooperate amongst themselves to solve this menace. Okay, now coming to the next passage. Guys, please read the passage. I will be scrolling through it, and like it's 12:08, so we will discuss at 12:13. Okay, 5 minutes. That should be enough.
Done, sir.
This is so the first question is, where is the Food and Agriculture Organization's headquarters? Option
Wow.
A, Geneva, Paris, New York, Rome. The second question is, I'll read through the questions and then we'll discuss, okay? And because like some people on the YouTube's live stream are like uncomfortable with the long silences that we have on this class. So I'll just quickly read through the questions and then we'll discuss. So second question is, who won the Nobel Peace Prize 2020? World Food Program, Food and Agriculture Organization, the United Nations Environment Program, or the Food Recovery Network? Third question, India has a historic association with the FAO. Who was the FAO's Director General in 1956 up till 1967, during whose time the organization was set up? The organization which won the Nobel Prize in 2020, which is question number 2. Okay, question number 4 is, which year has been declared as the International Year of Millets? And the last question is, how many sustainable development goals, also known as the global goals, were adopted by all the United Nations member states as a universal call to action to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure all people enjoy peace and prosperity by 2030? Okay, where is it headquartered, guys?
Rome.
Rome. Correct. Very good. Now, second question. Who won the Nobel Peace Prize 2020?
So World Food
World
Program.
Food Program.
World Food Program. Are you guys Googling these answers? Am I taking too long? Everyone is
No,
getting
no.
everything correct today. Good, good. Either I'm an excellent teacher so that you have learned everything before I taught, or otherwise you have excellent internet connection, or you are very good students. I hope it's the third option, but even one is fine by me. So, who was the FAO's Director General during the time during the time when the World Food Program was set up?
So skip.
Yep.
Sir,
Okay. Yeah,
option
this is
A.
the option A. Okay, Varishtha, you are now scaring me. But yeah, you're right. You're right, and correct, Shantanu. Like your approach was correct. This is a very factual question. So whenever you get factual questions like these, and you're not sure about the answer, then just skip it. Okay, skip it at the first time. You can again come back to it later. But first round of answering, skip. Only answer questions in which you are sure of the answer in the first round. Now, which year has been declared as the International Year of Millets?
2023.
2023. Which country has proposed this?
India.
India. And why International Year of Millets only, not not wheat, rice, or anything?
Yeah, that I don't know.
Okay, so basically, what is happening? So millets are, firstly, they are very hardy crops. Okay, so they are photo insensitive, which means that they can also grow in places where there is irregular sunlight. Okay, then second is that they don't require a lot of water. Like rice or paddy requires a lot of water. So at the time of plantation, paddy fields have to be flooded. There is no such issue with millets. Okay, third, millets are very high source of nutrition. So they're easy to grow. They're hardy crops. They can grow in a lot of adverse conditions also, like adverse when compared to other plants, like the regular Kharif and Rabi crops that we have. And they're also nutritionally very good, which is why India proposed to observe 2023 as the International Year of Millets, and that was accepted by the UN and the FAO. Okay, now how many sustainable development goals does the global goals have? 15, 16, 17, or 19?
17.
17, sir.
Correct. 17. So this is also a question that if you know, you know, otherwise you don't know. So these UN things you have to keep track of. Okay, you have to, whenever you see something like these many goals, these many action points, this institution won this thing in the won some award, there's like some UN organization. So you just Google right then and there and note in your notebook, when was that in a organization established, what is the Indian link to that establishment, both a historic link like this question, Vinay Ranjan Sen, and also a contemporary or current link like the International Year of Millets. Okay. Now, next passage. Guys, I'm going to read this passage out. So all those of you who have access to this document, I would recommend that you read it, like you lower the volume, and at 12:22, we will discuss. Okay, you increase your volume of your device, then only. Meanwhile, I'll read this out for the benefit of our other viewers. Okay, guys. So the president's power to pardon in the US and India comparison. With less than 2 months of his tenure remaining, US President Donald Trump on Wednesday exercised his powers under the Constitution to pardon Michael Flynn, his former national security advisor, who had twice pleaded guilty to lying to the FBI. FBI is the Federal Bureau of Investigation, which was founded in the 1930s to deal with armed robbery and all these interstate crimes, monetary crimes, fraud and all in the US. And since then it has expanded its power and has had its jurisdiction expanded, but mostly like interstate and federal crimes, they are taken care of by the FBI, the Homeland Security, the National Security Agency, and all these institutions. So the president of the US has the constitutional right to pardon or commute sentences related to federal crimes. The US Supreme Court has held that this power is granted without limit and cannot be restricted by Congress. Clemency is another word for mercy, is a broad executive power, and is discretionary, which means that the president is not answerable for his pardons and does not have to provide a reason for issuing one. That is what discretionary means, that it is up to him, his whims and fans. Like if he feels that I should pardon, he can pardon. If he feels he should not pardon, he does not have to pardon. That is what you mean by discretionary. But there are few limitations. For instance, Article 2, Section 2 of the US Constitution says all presidents shall have power to grant reprieves. Reprieve again is some sort of clemency, either partial or full clemency from an adverse sanction. Okay. So grant reprieves and pardons for offenses against the reprieve is like to some extent you are pardoned, you are like clemency, partial clemency, and pardon is full clemency. Okay. For offenses against the United States, except in cases of impeachment. So presidents cannot grant reprieves and pardons for all, can grant reprieves and pardons for all offenses except impeachment. Further, the power only applies to federal crimes and not state crimes, because US also has a federal structure where the states have a lot of autonomy. So those pardoned by the state president can still be tried under the laws of individual states. The Flynn pardon is not the first by Trump to raise eyebrows. In 2017, Trump pardoned former Maricopa County Sheriff Joe Arpaio, who was found guilty of being in contempt of court for ignoring a federal judge's order to stop arresting immigrants solely on the suspicion that they were residing in the US illegally. Others include right-wing commentator and convicted campaign fraudster Dinesh D'Souza and Michael Milken. a financier convicted of securities fraud. Yet, Trump happens to have used his pardon powers less than any president in modern history. Pew Research data shows. In his 4 years, he has granted pardons to 29 people and 16 commutations. Commutation means reduced sentence. Okay. President Obama, during his 8-year tenure, had issued 212 pardons and 1,715 commutations. Bush was also infrequent in use of this power and granted 77. George Senior Bush Senior, okay, the father of George W. Bush. He had one term. George W. Bush, who was the son, had 2 terms. He was the one who invaded Iraq and Afghanistan. But George H.W. Bush was his father, who played a huge role in the Iraq-Iran war and the Kuwait invasion. So both these father-son duo had a lot of fish to fry in the Middle East. But anyway, so he granted 77 clemency requests during his 4-year tenure. The highest number of clemency grants by a US president came during his 12-year tenure, which coincided with World War II. Unlike the US president, whose powers to grant pardons are almost unfettered, the President of India has to act on the advice of the blank. Now the questions are, the first question is, which article of the Constitution grants power to the President of India to grant pardons, reprieves, respites, or remissions of punishment? Come on, guys.
So 72.
72.
72.
72. You're also saying 72.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other question? Any other options? What do the other people think? What does John think?
72.
72. Okay. Great. Correct. Now, which article of the Constitution grants pardoning powers to the governor?
161.
161.
161. 161, 171,
181.
181, 191. Anyone else thinks any other article? Or do you all agree with 161? 161 is correct. Wonderful. Well done. Okay. Now, what will replace one in this
Sir,
question?
option
Sir,
C.
C.
Option C, correct. Franklin D. Roosevelt. He had 3 tenures. Okay, great, wonderful. It's good that you guys know this. And why is Ronald Reagan famous? Or why is Richard Nixon even famous?
He was impeached.
Ronald Reagan. Why was he impeached?
Because of the Watergate scandal.
Or was it Richard Nixon of the who was at the time of the Watergate?
I don't really remember. Sir.
So Richard Nixon was the guy who had to resign because of the Watergate scandal, where the official like FBI people were caught trying to infiltrate and trying to plant bugs in the Democratic Party's headquarters. And that was in the Watergate building. So the scandal came to be known as Watergate. And Ronald Reagan was the guy who started the war on drugs, okay, which has seen millions of people being killed and many democratically elected governments overthrown by the support of the United States. Now, question number 4, which will fill second? So second was, unlike the US president, Indian president has to act on the advice of dash
Council of
grandpa,
Ministers.
Council of Ministers. Does everyone agree?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Does anyone disagree? Anyone? No? Okay, great. Wonderful. Now, Constitution of India on whom confers pardoning powers extending to death sentences? President,
President.
Governor, or Chief of Defense Staff? Right.
1 and 2.
Governor too. Okay.
The
One and
president only.
President only, sir.
so there is confusion between 1 and 2. Okay. So why do you think 2 should also be allowed? Acha, you tell me one thing, John. When is the death sentence given in any case in India? For what kinds of crimes, to be more specific?
Extremely brutal.
Yeah, extremely brutal, I understand, but we like a technical term for it is rarest of the rare.
Yes, sir.
So if it is rarest of the rare, that means that it is not, it is a super rare occurrence giving a death sentence. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So does it make sense when you give so few death sentences? Does it make sense to give power to the president as well as the 28 governors that are there? Does it make sense to give power to 29 people when you are not even like sentencing 29 people to death? You are probably sentencing like 5, 6 people to death every year. So does it make sense? It doesn't. And also like because liberty in our constitution, liberty is at such a high standard that personal liberty you cannot like there is a very high threshold to restrict someone's personal liberty, and killing someone for some crime that they did is the ultimate control that a government can have on their personal liberty. Like you just end them. Okay, so the president only has the power. Okay, great. We are very quickly done with this week's worksheet, and now we will again go back to last week's worksheet. Okay, I will share that in.
The one with the passages on economics, that one.
Yeah. The one where we had discussed at length the RBI monetary policy.
Yeah, I guess only one passage was remaining from that now.
Yeah, only one passage was remaining. So we'll also like, because the monetary policy thing, you'll also understand a lot of economic news when you understand that. So we'll also have a very quick revision. Okay. So tell me guys, what is bank rate? Bank rate.
Sir, the rate at which bank provide us loan.
No. That is the lending rate. Primary lending
The
rate.
rate at
What
which
the primary
RBI.
Sir, the bank in which bank borrows from RBI, the rate at which
No,
for 1 year.
for 1 year. That is correct. For 1 year. What is repo rate?
The rate at which bank borrows from RBI for 14 days.
Yes. What is reverse repo rate?
Uh,
The rate at which RBI borrows from the banks.
Yes. For
14 days.
14 days.
which is higher?
Repo rate.
Why is repo rate higher?
Because RBI won't give as much interest as the normal rate banks would give.
And why is that?
Because they don't want money.
Right. Because they don't like, they're not in the business of lending money to people and throwing money around. So they don't care. And okay, good, very good. What is marginal standing facility?
The rate at which banks lend money to RBI for 1 day. Sorry, RBI lends money to banks for 1 day.
Yes, correct. Okay. Now, what else was left? Okay, how will someone just quickly like try to explain to me, like I forget, how will inflation and all change if the RBI increases, say, the repo rate? How will that affect prices? How will that affect inflation in the market?
So if the RBI increases the repo rate, that means that banks have to give more interest to the RBI to get loans. So banks will reduce the amount of loans they take, thereby reducing the money capacity. So the public can get as much loans at a low interest from the banks. So the whole money in the economy will come lower, thereby reducing inflation.
Right. Very good. So, and the exact opposite happens when the RBI lowers the repo rate or the reverse repo rate. So, sorry, the lower the repo rate or the bank rate. So, when the repo rate is lower, then the banks can take money from the RBI at a lower interest, and at a lower interest rate, and then they can lend more money. They will have more cash to lend to the public, and the public will also have more cash. The public will also have more cash to do what? How will it increase
To
inflation?
take loans.
No, to buy more stuff. Now, if you have more money, you will buy more things. Like if you get a bank loan at 5%, you will probably buy a Geo phone, okay? But if you get loan at like 1%, you will buy iPhone. So you will buy iPhone, everyone will buy iPhone. iPhone prices will go up to like 5 lakh rupees. And then people will start giving their kidneys and all to buy those phones, which has already happened to one person in Australia, okay? So this guy in Australia, he actually gave his kidneys to the one of his kidneys to the black organ traffickers to buy an iPhone, and after that his other kidney also failed. So now he has to spend more money on maintaining his health than he would have spent on phones for his entire life. Anyway, just give me 1 second and I'll quickly open that passage. Yeah, can you see this?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So it's 12:34. We'll discuss at 12:40. Okay. So imagine a soccer match in which the goalie for one side, goalie means goalkeeper, with a wink and a nod decides to run off for coffee in the middle of the game. That was basically President Donald Trump's approach to the Israeli-Pakistani conflict, Israeli-Palestinian conflict over the past 4 years. The Trump administration gave Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu an open goal opportunity to run up the score on the Palestinians with no resistance and lot of connivance from the United States. So connivance means doing shady things, shady deals, and manipulating people by doing cunning, shady things. Okay, that is what connivance means. With President-elect Joe Biden trudging onto the field, it's likely the US foreign policy establishment will seek a return to the Obama-era modus operandi, an emphasis on two states and maintaining the illusion of being an honest broker. Even if in practice Israel is favored, there could be a few wrinkles owing to Obama administration veterans' frustrations about Israel's actions around two failed Palestinian peace deals, as well as the Iran nuclear deal. But Biden has historically been and will likely continue to be a traditional Washington pro-Israel stalwart. Stalwart means star of something, okay, very huge in some field. It's also possible that none of it will matter. The playing field of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict will be radically different than what Obama veterans left behind in 2017, not least thanks to Trump leaving an open goal for the Israelis. The end result seems clear. Yet another hefty nail in the coffin of the two-state solution, a result of radically altered facts on the ground greenlit by Trump, and unlikely to be reversed by Biden or any other US president. Over the past 4 years, Trump and his deputy cum son-in-law Jared Kushner helped Israel realize an incredible set of diplomatic and strategic gains at virtually no cost in concessions to the Palestinians. On a raft of policy areas, Trump suddenly dropped objections long held by bipartisan. Bipartisan means divided across two parties, the Democrats and the Republicans. So bipartisan US presidential administrations over decades, establishing a US embassy in Jerusalem. So the US has officially accepted Jerusalem as the capital, which was the disputed area, and people were giving most people wanted a two-state solution to the capital city because both Palestinians and Israelis lay claim to Jerusalem. Annexing the disputed Golan Heights, ramping up illegal settlements, strangling humanitarian aid to the Palestinians, demolishing record numbers of West Bank homes, threatening to brand human rights organizations critical of Israel as anti-Semitic, and even scoring public recognition for Israel from several Arab states. These are just a few of the mind-blowing changes that took place under Trump. More remarkable still, these gifts were all handed to Israel by the author of The Art of the Deal without negotiating anything in return. In what appears to be a final gratuitous gift to the Netanyahu government, Trump's Secretary of State Mike Pompeo reportedly plans to visit the annexed Golan Heights and a settlement in the occupied West Bank next week. It has already happened like a couple of weeks ago. So what this passage is saying right now, it has already happened. There's a picture of Netanyahu and Mike Pompeo sitting in the Israeli settlements in West Bank. So these moves, unprecedented for a sitting Secretary of State, would further legitimate Israeli claims to these territories while emphasizing how little the US is interested in Palestinian statehood or other basic interests. For some Palestinians and their advocates, the Trump approach reflected an unspoken reality suddenly blasted out over loudspeakers. Okay, first question. Which of the following countries was not a belligerent? Belligerent means fighting, someone who fights a war, or just fight, someone who likes to fight a lot or fights a lot. That is belligerent. Belligerence, belligerent. Okay. Which of the following countries was not a belligerent in the 6-day war? Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Syria, and Egypt.
So maybe Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
Skip.
What were the others thing?
Skip, sir.
Skip. Okay. What about you, Ashank, John?
So Egypt maybe?
Egypt, either Egypt or Saudi Arabia.
Okay. So which one would you have gone with, Ashank, if you had to guess? When you have only two options, then you always go for the answer, okay? Because if you don't know which is the correct option out of 4, then you have a 25% chance of getting it correct. But if you have eliminated two options, like you have eliminated Jordan and Syria, I don't know why. You must have done that because of some information that you have or your gut feeling or anything. That depends on you basically. So when you have eliminated two options like you did here and you are only left with two options, then you have a 50% chance of getting it correct. So always attempt that, okay? Attempt these 50% questions. So which is the option you would have gone with, Ashank?
So Saudi Arabia then.
Saudi Arabia. So Saudi Arabia is the correct answer. And the 6-day war is a very, very interesting war because it lasted obviously from the name for 6 days. And Jordan, Syria, and Egypt, all three of them neighbor Israel. Okay. And Israel was a very small country back then. So these three countries thought that if we attack Israel together, then we will decimate them. We will drive the Jews out of the Middle East, and then we will retake Palestine. Okay, it was earlier what was known as what was the country of Palestine was where after the Second World War the Jews were given a separate state to establish themselves. But what happened with a very small army but highly trained and because of superior military tactics, Israel crushed these three countries, single-handedly crushed these three countries in 6 days and took on many territories from them. Okay, and became the much larger country that it is today. Okay, now which of the following countries is a republic? Saudi Arabia, Iran, Syria, or Bahrain?
So Syria.
Bahrain.
Bahrain. One is John said Bahrain, Shantanu said Syria. What about Ashank and Varishtha?
Sir, I don't know.
You don't know. Okay, no worries. What about you, Ashank?
So what does mean countries is a republic?
By republic, it means that the people elect the head of the states. Like in our country, we elect the president. Okay, the president is the head of the state. We elect the president, albeit indirectly, but we do elect the president. Similarly, in the United States, also people elect. So when the people elect their rulers, then it is a republic, and it is like not hereditary or passed on to like their sons or whoever they fancy. That is a republic. So what do you think now?
The Syria.
Syria.
Syria. Okay. So Syria, guys, is a dictatorship where the dictator's name is al-Assad, Bashar al-Assad, and he has been fighting a civil war since 2014 or 2011, like some like a long civil war. Okay, Syria. So Syria is not a republic; it is a dictatorship. Saudi Arabia is a monarchy. What do you mean by monarchy? You mean that there is a system where there's a ruler in the form of a king or queen or whatever, and their family only continues to rule. Okay, then it gets passed down to their children and then their children after that. So Saudi Arabia is a monarchy where its king's name is King Abdullah, but King Abdullah is very old. So and after him, his son, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, who is more famously known in the media as MBS, will become the new king. Bahrain is also a monarchy. Its official name is Kingdom of Bahrain. Okay. So that only leaves us with Iran. And if you knew that Iran was earlier a dictatorship, so Iran till 1979, from 1953 to 1979, Iran was a dictatorship where uh, their ruler was supported by the United States and the United Kingdom. Then in 1979, there was an Islamic revolution in the country, after which Ayatollah Khomeini became the supreme, like the religious leader. Okay, so he is the religious leader of Iran. Ayatollah Khomeini, that long bearded guy you see so much in news related to Iran, but he is not the head of state there. The head of state there is elected. The president of Iran is elected. Only the religious leader of Iran is Ayatollah Khomeini. And Iran's official name is also Islamic Republic of Iran. So Iran is the correct answer. Understood?
Yes, no.
Great. Okay. How many countries does the OPEC have? What is the OPEC first of all?
Oil producing something countries.
Okay.
Organization of Petroleum Exportation.
Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're more or less correct. It means the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. Okay. So how many member countries does it have? Come on. If you
13.
know, you know. 13. Okay. Can you name them? Don't worry if you can't. Just say yes or no. Or you
I
can
don't
try.
know, sir.
Okay, don't worry then. We'll try. Okay. Does anyone else have any other options? Ashank, Shantanu, John. Okay, no. Okay, so the correct answer is 13. Okay, and the question is how many the oil exporting countries. Okay, Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. So what are the first countries that come to your mind?
Saudi Arabia,
Saudi Arabia, correct.
Iran,
Next,
Iraq,
correct. Iraq, correct. Then
UAE,
UAE, correct. 4.
Indonesia.
Indonesia.
Yes, sir.
Indonesia was a member, but it is not anymore. But good guess, very good.
So is Venezuela still a member?
Yes, Venezuela. Because remember, last time we discussed that Venezuela
Yes,
has
sir.
the largest crude oil deposits in the world, known
Yes.
crude oil deposits in the world, petroleum deposits in the world.
But
So,
there was something that said they were leaving or something, right? Or was it Ecuador? I don't remember.
Ecuador is another former member. Ecuador, Indonesia, and Qatar are former members, so they don't matter. No one will ask you
Yeah.
that. India is not a member.
Sir,
So
Libya,
Oman,
Sorry. I'm so sorry. Yeah, Libya is a member. Very good.
Nigeria,
US,
Nigeria is a member. US is not the member. US does not export petroleum. US exports shale gas.
Sir,
Where
Kuwait,
through the process of fracking, you extract the crude oil that is stuck beneath the rock. Like there is not that much quantity as you will find in the oil deposits in the uh, it's not in the Middle East, it's not as easy to extract, but there is some oil stuck between the rocks, and there's a process called fracking from which you extract that. Okay, next. Come on, guess.
Sir, Nigeria and Kuwait.
Nigeria and Kuwait. So we have covered all the Asian countries. So there are 5 Asian countries. Okay, Iraq, Iran, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and UAE. 5 Asian countries. Okay. Then we have one South American country, and that is Venezuela. So 6. And then we have seven African countries: Algeria, Angola, Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Gabon, Libya, and Nigeria. It's not important. You don't have to remember all the names. Just remember that there are 13 members. There were 5 founding members, and those 5 founding members were, just think of the first oil producing countries that come to your mind. The first one that should come to your mind is Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia was a founding member. Second is Iran. Iran was a founding member. Iraq was a founding member. Kuwait is the country with the highest valued currency in the world, the Kuwaiti dinar. That country was a founding member, and Venezuela was a founding member. Okay, these 5 were founding members. Now we have expanded to 13 countries. Okay, 4th question. How many religions consider Jerusalem to be a holy site?
3.
Yes. Which are these religions?
Jews, Christians, and Muslims.
Religions, not the practitioners.
Christianity, Islam, and Judaism.
Yes, Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. And okay, and what do you collectively call what is the term for collectively referring to these 3 religions? There's a specific term. Do you guys know that?
No, sir.
Okay, so these
It's something related to Abraham, no?
these are called the Abrahamic religions, because all these religions, they deviate after the biblical story of Abraham. Okay, till Abraham everything is the same, and after Abraham everything changes, and like before that also everything is different. But because all of them have a have a person called Abraham in their stories, in all the stories, like in the stories in the Bible, in the stories in the Quran, and everything, so they are called Abrahamic religion. Okay, which country is the largest oil producer of the world? We had discussed that last class.
USA.
Yes, very good, brilliant. I hope you are keeping track of the number of questions you got correct and the number of questions you got incorrect. And I also hope that you are marking yourselves every day. But that's all for today's class. We had a good, nice, fast track class, fast paced class. I hope you guys liked it. And we will do this only like, so I was thinking you have 30 passages to read in the exam, right? Around 30 passages and 120 minutes. So we are going to focus on being able to read the passage and solve it in one round of solving, like solving the easy questions, the questions that you know, and the questions that you can, like two options that you can eliminate, 50-50 guesses. That kind of answering, we aim to do that in 3 minutes. Okay, 3 minutes. I think that should be sufficient right now, which is why I have taken like 5 minutes as the mark right now. And for some like 2-3 weeks we will continue having a deadline of 5 minutes, and after that that deadline will increase to, like the deadline will decrease to 4 minutes and then 3 minutes, so that in 90 minutes, yeah, Shantanu, give me 1 minute, so that in 90 minutes you can read 30 passages and answer them, and in the first round. Okay, so only questions that you are sure of or like 50% sure of, so that you have 30 minutes remaining to find the answers of the other questions. Yeah, Shantanu.
Like for GK, are we supposed to read the whole passage?
No. For GK, first read the question. First read the question, because there will be question like what do you mean by one? What do you mean by two? Then you don't have to read every single thing now. Just go back there.
What I do is like I just read the first two lines of the passage to identify the topic. Then I go to the question,
Yeah.
and then I just spot the 1, 2, 3, and like that sort of thing.
Or you can also like straight away go to the questions. You can straight away go to the, because there will be questions that will be related to the passage but not mentioned in the passage. Like the most of the questions that I deal with, because we deal with comprehension and all of those things in English classes. So I don't feel there is a lot of benefit doing the same thing in GK. So I ask related questions to the passage, so that we can also cover some portion of static along with the current affairs. So yeah, I think that should be a good, yeah, that will be a good strategy. Just going through the questions first, getting everything that you can answer in the first try, or 50-50 guesses. And then don't even do the 50-50 guesses at the first time. Like just circle the 50-50 guesses questions, or just mark them if there's an online exam. But yeah, that will work. That is perfect strategy. And then you would also, like, you will probably have to read like 2-3 lines of a passage.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So that's it, guys, for today. I hope you had fun. I hope you learned something. And let's meet tomorrow. And tomorrow's class, I like, it might clash with my class in college. So I will tell you, like, we will have class tomorrow. But I will tell you, can we have class tomorrow from 5 to 6:30 p.m.? No.
Yes, sir.
No, sir.
Yes, sir.
I have also an extra class.
Okay, then can we have our classes from 7:45 to 9:15?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Then tomorrow we'll have our classes from 7:45 to 9:15, and I will let you know if, like, what do we do, if whether we stick with that schedule or not. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So guys, have fun, have a great weekend, and don't study today. Like, chill, relax. And if your parents tell you, "Haan, study for your exam," then tell them Rishabh sir has given us the evening off, and then we'll study again tomorrow. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So guys, bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.